like we always motherfucking do. Obviously, if y'all hearing my voice first, that means Elle is not with us for this episode. She got some shit she taking care of. She will be back for the following episode next week. Before we get started, I have 3 guests this week. 3 guests. One of which you've heard his voice before, Mr. Remy Mulatto of From the Mulatto Perspective. Remy, say hello. Say hello.
It is I.
It is I. Okay. I don't know who that is, but my second guest is a friend of mine who has his own law practice here in the Tampa Bay area. Greg, say hello and just tell those who are listening a little more about who you are in particular.
All right. Thanks for having me. First of all, Gregory Saint-Geore. I'm an attorney here in Tampa, Florida, Haitian descent.
Hey,
and
you gotta throw that out there, though.
You know what I'm saying?
You can hear it in the last name. You can hear it in the last name.
Sac passe. Yeah. And, just a pleasure to be here with you fellas and, give my input. I've been in the Tampa area since 2009 and, just enjoy it here.
You got here around almost the same time I got here. I got here in 2011, so 2 years before me.
What was it about that period where everybody started moving?
Man, I think it was right after the Depression for the most part, 2008.
Probably the last time we had an influx of people just moving here.
We're definitely thank you for joining. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
I don't know too many married brothers, so I'm glad to have you on for this topic. And, of course, my third guest has actually been on our show once before. He was on back in 2019 for the episode called Men and Commitment Phobia. I'm talking about international star saxophonist Marlon. Say what's up.
What's good? What's good? Glad to be back.
Who are you?
Who am I?
For people who have not heard the Men and Commitment Phobia episode from 2019, tell us a little more about yourself before we delve into this thing.
Well, I'm a Florida native from Pahokee, Florida.
Pahokee,
Florida, the muck. Moved here to Tampa in 1996.
Oh, yeah, you're a Floridian now.
Yeah. One of the most sought after local saxophonists here in the area. Been playing saxophone for 38 years. Last time I was on the show, I had just released my first single. Mm-hmm. And coming up, by the time this airs, I will be releasing my third single. So
okay, you doing that. When the album dropping though? When the album dropping? That's what I want to know.
Album's dropping April 1st called Dance With Me.
Right on.
You got some samples? You bring some samples with you?
I got you.
We're gonna play some a little bit later for sure.
Got you.
Oh, this man got the whole. Oh, he came prepared.
Oh, I like that.
You see, but he came prepared.
Always ready.
Came prepared. He just dropped a little.
So I actually brought that for L, but again, I'm on the show. And
that's
L
right.
ain't here.
L,
so,
I'm the second best.
I gotta throw it out there.
I'm the second best choice. I'm gonna find a clip for. I'm sure you got it on Spotify somewhere. We'll play it.
I like the flex though. One of the most sought after saxophonists.
Bro, he really is. He really is.
I love it.
In the Bay Area, absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, guys. We're going to get into this. How was your week, man? How was your week? Tell me how your week been. You do a little weekly recap. Remy, you go first.
I've been having I don't know. I just been floating in out of consciousness all week. That's really
floating in and out of
it hasn't been like
all week.
It hasn't been a special week because just recent things have gotten weird or whatever. So it's kind of like one of those.
What does that mean?
Like if you going through something and let's say you have a week of like hell, and then the week after that you're gonna be looking at all that hell you went through and being like, damn, like, fuck I'm supposed to do now.
So you saying you went through something? Are you talking about like work wise or
man,
like even relationship wise?
It's a lot of different.
This life shit.
It was too many different things from different places all coming together at once or whatever. So now last week was just like, all right, let me just redevelop my normal,
realign,
which I believe started with us going to the spa, to you know what I'm talking about, the thing.
The float therapy.
Yeah, float therapy.
I don't know if y'all saw my episode. I did a float tank therapy session where you go into this sensory deprivation thing, like you float. The Epsom salt is like enough salt in there so that you don't sink to the bottom. Yeah. And the water is body temperature. You have no lights, no darkness, and you just float, meditate. I loved it. It was a great experience. I enjoyed it. Remy
Jay came out of it, was like, yo, I just feel so relaxed.
I was super
just
relaxed.
The whole like, damn, Jay, all right.
It was pretty cool. But that's neither here nor there.
Now, is that something for like mental cleansing, or is it
Yeah, it's
physical?
more like it's just basically.
I think it's both, kind of, because you just lay in this salt, like salt water or whatever, and you're basically in the dark and you're in an enclosed space.
But you don't have to be in the dark. You don't have to be in the dark. So it's basically a tub. It's a tub with a lid on it. Basically what it is, and it has lights in it that you get to control. But you definitely go in there. There's no music. There's no sound.
You have control.
It's just you.
Sure.
It's just you in this space.
Nice.
You can't hear anything outdoors. You can't. I mean, it's completely silent. I personally did it because I meditate. I try to get into yoga, just different ways to calm the mind. I think I do a lot of thinking. So for me to be able to quiet myself is important. And I had seen so many videos about float tank therapy and how it's been beneficial. And I was like, well, fuck it. I'm trying to do this new channel called Never Have I Ever. I've never done it. So let's go and do it. And I invited Remy along. So if you've never done it, it's actually pretty cool. I felt heavy inside there, especially my head. You don't realize how heavy your head is.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird. Like, damn, I got a big ass head. Like, just all of a sudden.
Yeah, but it was cool, man. I definitely recommend it. So, well, hopefully your week will be better next week, man.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm good.
Ron, how's your week been, brother?
Well, for me, my week was pretty busy. With the pandemic and everything going on and unemployment rates up, you would think that people would be looking for jobs and wanting to work. But I also have a full-time job managing a detail operation that does recon and reconditioning to automobiles for Crown Automotive. And can't find good help, man.
Really?
Can't find good help. And we got more work than we can handle.
Really?
To outsource to other companies. It's stressful.
I think people are really comfortable with just making that unemployment money. And don't really want to
So you work like with the automotive industry.
Yes.
You think it's likely that like less people have gone into like automotive stuff or whatever, so there's just not as much supply of like workers, because everybody's kind of been geared towards computers. So everybody's doing computers. Whole lot less people, unless you're like in the family, are going towards automotive and stuff like that.
Well, there's a lot of people unemployed right now. So if you need a job, you go do how we were raised.
Yeah,
like you do what you got to do.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure.
I think that people are just uninformed about the possibilities and things that are out there. Not everybody wants to clean a car, just like cleaning homes and things like that. It takes a person who has a passion for doing something like that for that particular position. But in the automotive industry, there's so many opportunities besides sales. People usually think it's just a sales side of it. There's more to it than just sales. But if you're looking for work, got automotive detail experience, or willing to be trained, crowncars.com.
If you're in Tampa Bay area, man, looking for a job, just reach out for more information. Definitely. There's no reason to not be able to make money this day and age if you know people in your network. Greg, how's your week, brother?
It's definitely been a busy week. I would say work-wise, everything's been kind of busy. The road's been opening back up, and I primarily do personal injury, so a lot more people are getting into accidents. And
man,
so
I swear, the drivers here are worse, bro.
Man, they drive crazy, But so work-wise, things are going pretty good. It's been busy, but in my personal life, my wife's we're expecting our second.
You're staying busy, bro. Yeah. You're staying busy.
And it's a boy, so
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited and apprehensive.
Yeah.
I've gotten used with a girl. Our daughter, she'll be 3 in April. So it's like I feel like I'm good. I'm comfortable, in that sense. But the more I'm reading up on boards, it seems like they're a little bit more handful, energy-wise and everything.
From what I've been told, I don't have any kids, but I have 4 nephews, and boys are harder younger. And as they get older, they just level out. And girls are easier early, but then as they get older, it's harder.
That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Hormones just change or whatnot. So
my experience has been a little different. I got 3 daughters. All of them grown now. 25, 21, 19.
Damn, you got grown-ass kids.
Man.
You don't look that old, man. How old
You really don't, yeah.
Be 49 in May.
If you took the gray out the beard, you'd be like, what are you, like 23, 24?
I appreciate that, man. Black don't crack.
That's what's up.
Good tequila.
Yeah.
So busy week then, man. I actually reached out to his wife first to see if she wanted to come on the show. She was like, no, get Greg. I was like, you think Greg could do it? She was like, yeah, why not? So
I'm down. But, just trying to get ready for the board, trying to get the nursery ready. Yeah. Trying to get all of that stuff situated. So,
man, that's a whole nother life. I'm not even ready for it.
Don't do it. See, I'm gonna have to holler at him, man. Get some life hacks.
Yeah, for sure. So my week's been pretty dope, actually, man. I had a pretty dope week. Friday, I had a good first date, which I haven't had in like a long time. It's been months since I've had a good first date. Even getting to a first date is struggle in the single life. So you fellas be glad that you ain't out here in this dating life, because it's the worst right now.
Man, how do you do a first date in a pandemic, man?
Man, you just honestly, as long as you're okay meeting one person face to face. We went over to Dunedin because she lived in Clearwater, and we just did mostly outside stuff.
Okay.
Had some little Mexican food, had our mask on. So yeah, it was good. Most of the energy was good.
You kind of a savage, dog.
I'm a savage.
So like you just said, like, yo, I just went on the good first date I've been on in a long time. And I know you've been first dating a lot, at least within the last year or whatever. So like so many people heard that and was like, damn, so our first date wasn't shit.
I mean,
like, damn, fuck my first date with you.
If we ain't still talking.
And Jay is like, yeah,
if
savage.
we ain't still talking, man, I'm at a point in my life.
Right?
I'm at a point in my life, man, where I'm not about wasting time, right? And time is the one thing we never get back. We give it away so freely. Absolutely. And I don't want to keep going on second, third, fourth dates if we don't have a good chemistry, or if I gotta carry the conversation. It's not saying it was a bad first date. It was an okay first date. This one on Friday, which is good conversation.
Yeah. The vibe was good.
Yeah, that's all. Not to shit on the other ladies at all. It's
course.
Just this one was just better.
Like we just wasn't made for each other. Y'all just wasn't it.
Exactly. So if you're enjoying All Tea No Shade in general, or you really like this episode, remember to buy us a coffee at coffee.com/All Tea No Shade. That's KOFI.com/All Tea No Shade. You buy us a coffee and we will keep on sipping. So speaking of sipping, Marlon, what did you bring with you this morning to sip on? Because when I hit up Marlon to ask him if he could join the show, he was like, hey, y'all sip early or nah? He said, cause I was like, I do. I don't know about anyone else. So what you got, man? What you bring?
Well, over the past
that ass bottle too.
4 or 5 months, I've got into tequila tasting or drinking tequila, and my palate for tequila is on the higher end. But what I brought today was something that's at a great price point for its quality of taste. I will put this up there with any of the Avions, Don Julio, the Michael Jordan Sincoro, but it's called Maestro the Bell. It's the Anejo.
Now, some of us are a little bit more poor than you. So when you say price point, what you mean by price point?
We like, wait a minute.
Is that an $18 bottle or a $60 bottle?
It's a $50 bottle.
Okay. See what I'm talking about?
Depending on where you get it. But if you're into quality sipping, price point on this,
which I am, go ahead, pour me a little something.
You can't go wrong with this price point.
I like it.
That's smooth.
I like it.
I see why $50.
Smooth like saxophonist Marlon.
That's pretty smooth. All right, so what we're gonna do, instead of me trying to imitate L, normally what we do at this part is called Who Am I? Who Am I? L has these hints of certain guests that we need to guess who they are in order to win. I'm not very good at doing that stuff. But what I do want to do is, hold on, where am I? All right, so I'm gonna give you a couple hints about one person, and then I'm gonna ask a question about this person once you guess who it is. All right. So this comedian recently had a new movie come out, and it's causing kind of a stir since coming out for a few weeks ago. What'd you say?
When can we guess?
Whenever.
Okay, Eddie Murphy.
Correct. So Eddie Murphy, Coming to America 2. We don't have to discuss Coming to America 2. That's not really what I care about. I think we all probably watched it at this point. My question is, where does Eddie Murphy rank in greatest of all time comedians? I know Remy's a comedian head. I'm gonna let you go last. You're kind of long winded. Where do y'all rank Eddie Murphy? Anyone can go.
You want to take it?
I like Eddie early in his career. As he got older and matured, I think some of the stuff kind of just got corny for me. It wasn't as funny as when I was younger and following his career. Where I would place him,
Where you gonna place him? Where you placing him?
I could see him in a top 6.
Top 6.
Just outside of my top 5, yeah.
Wow, he's out of the top 5. I didn't expect that. Where you placing him, Greg?
All right. See, the way I look at it is like this. Are we talking about stand-up Eddie Murphy or movie Eddie Murphy?
That's a good question.
Now, if we're going with movie, I definitely would have to put him probably number 1. You know, because when I'm thinking about
I'm kind of with you on that.
You know, with like your Kevin Hart's, your Dave Chappelle's, you know, Cosby's, whatever, Bernie Mac.
Wow, okay.
You know, I can't think anyone that tops Eddie Murphy, movie-wise.
I got one.
When it comes to comedian.
I think Chris Tucker might be a little above Eddie on movies.
So I don't know.
That's debatable.
Right.
That's debatable.
Right.
So I don't
That's
know.
like the only person I can think of, though.
I will
But
say
Chris Tucker
this.
had
No, so I don't find him funny though. I don't find
a
Chris
lot
Tucker
of
funny.
everybody at that time did though. Like he
Yeah.
was the guy for like that
I will-
stretch. It wasn't as long as like a decade, so I think they don't really give him the credit. But he was the movie guy for a minute. I mean, he did a movie with
Yeah.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah. See, that's the. I kind of look at it like the Kevin Durant championship rings. You know, it's like, okay, he was at the top, but it wasn't like Eddie Murphy wasn't carrying it because at the time Jackie Chan was also, you know, big, you know, superstar.
Right.
You know, whereas Eddie Murphy, it's like you went to the movie for Eddie Murphy.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's like some of those people they went for Jackie Chan. So I would definitely think he had the.
So you're saying that you don't feel like Chris Tucker could have been like the number 1 headliner of a movie. He could be like the one of 2 characters.
Yeah.
But being the guy, like Eddie Murphy has
Yeah.
been the guy.
Exactly.
Like, you know,
You know, it's
Boomerang,
just Eddie Murphy. Like you go in there to see Eddie Murphy. You
Yeah.
know, and I don't know
Yeah,
if everyone in that
exactly.
theater went there to see, you know, Chris Tucker.
They
Now,
went
he
there
was
to
a
see
big
Jackie
part
Chan,
of it.
They wanted to see Jackie Chan.
know,
I guess for me, I don't separate them because I like to lump everything together: the movies and the stand-up part, because that's part of their entire career.
Yeah, it's just like doing different jobs at a
Correct.
particular organization.
Before I give my answer, where do you rank Eddie Murphy of all time?
Shit. I didn't even think about my answer.
But I would say
feel like you should
stand up
give your
definitely
answer.
top 5.
Who's go ahead?
Because there's so many. I love so many comedians, and we're talking about. Okay, are we talking about comedians or are we talking about black comedians?
Comedians. Now I didn't say black,
can't
best
even-
black. I'm saying comedian.
I
Top.
can't even.
Where do you rank him? Come on.
All right, I'll say top 10. I give him top 10 somewhere. He's got to be top 10.
So who's better than Richard Pryor?
I mean, I'm
Richard
gonna
Pryor,
reach. I'm gonna reach
right?
for not. I'm not saying Chris Rock is first, but I'm gonna reach for Chris Rock before I reach for Eddie Murphy for sure.
Okay.
Definitely Richard Pryor. Unfortunately, you got to mention Bill Cosby.
So I wouldn't have Bill Cosby up there.
You got to talk about what's the white dude that said the 7 things you can't say on
George Carlin.
George Carlin. You got to say George Carlin. There's Louis C.K. is in my top 5.
So I think Jerry
Kevin Hart is actually
Jerry
in my top 10
Seinfeld is
also.
an all-time great. I think Chris Rock
Seinfeld, yeah,
is an
so-
all-time great.
So Eddie Murphy starts to fall lower
Dave
and lower.
Chappelle. Dave Chappelle better than Eddie Murphy?
No.
Dave Chappelle didn't.
I don't think so either.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think
And
so
even,
either.
Even Seinfeld, I wouldn't say is better than Eddie Murphy. Now, I'm a Jerry Seinfeld fan, but it's so different.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a different comedy.
You know what? I agree with you that Dave Chappelle wouldn't be above Eddie Murphy because of Eddie Murphy's movie career. But if you just put the stand-ups against stand-ups, I think Chappelle got Eddie.
I mean, it's a good debate. And I like to give people their due credit when they're alive. Like, too often we always wait people die. And oh, he was so great. He did that. Let's talk about him while they fucking alive. Right? And I agree. Yeah, like, early Eddie, I loved. But someone the other day made a good point that comedy from, like, the 80s and 90s doesn't age well.
Yeah, it
Right?
doesn't.
So, like, if you watch it now, you're like, oh, shit.
Be canceled.
Delirious is quite ridiculous now. Like he does an entire joke about just the African woman, and I feel like
Yeah.
everybody would be like, "Come on, Eddie, like that's not it."
But it was
You
so
know?
funny then.
Of course, it was
You
hilarious
know?
at the time.
And I wonder if it's still funny today in our mind, but we don't feel comfortable saying that it's funny because of everything that has changed. And it was
Well,
wrong. You know what I mean?
I feel like there's a lot of comedy in ignorance. I think when you don't know about something, it's easier for you to laugh about it or laugh at it. You know what I'm saying? So the further away you are from something, the easier it is to not take it personal. But as soon as you get close to it, like let's say we were joking about cancer or something like that. Well, if nobody here has had cancer or had children that have had cancer, there could be a joke about that will work in this room. But as soon as you add a cancer survivor to the situation, it's like, we should not be laughing at this.
Yeah.
Well,
that's good. I was just curious of people. I was thinking about that earlier today, Eddie Murphy, man. It's like, coming to America, I didn't think it was great, but it wasn't bad. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I laughed. I thought it paid homage to the first one,
Absolutely.
My word is I appreciated it.
See,
like that's all I needed. I didn't need to love the movie. I didn't need to think it was the most hilarious thing. I was happy that Eddie Murphy did that. And everybody came together to do that again.
For the time span in between getting out to a second movie, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Everything that was put in it, going back, reliving the original, and moving forward, modernizing, where things are today. I appreciate it for that fact.
Yeah. And there's so many people out here talking about, man, I hated that movie so much.
See, it's crazy because I'm one of those people.
Oh no!
This is what I will say. I took it like a parody of the first one.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I don't know. Like, it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like how you said earlier where comedy doesn't age well.
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes I wonder if the first one came out today, if I would be like, man, this is funny. If I would be like, man, is he making fun of Africa?
Yeah.
So maybe it's just my taste and my palate have evolved. Whereas it wasn't really that bad, but because, it's evolved. So at this point where they caught me, it's like, I don't know.
Who do y'all think did the best acting job in Coming to America? Then we'll move on.
Oh, I thought Arsenio Hall was great. I loved Arsenio
I thought
Hall.
Wesley Snipes did the best job.
Oh, you talking about the new one?
The new one.
No, I don't know about the new one.
The new one.
Maybe Tiana Taylor.
She didn't do nothing. She was sexy though.
She was looking
she was looking
in that
good.
scene, Tiana Taylor was the only thing that mattered.
She was
on
looking
screen.
good.
Okay.
Yeah,
She stole the scene.
Yeah.
But
and to me, I don't know if she's an actor or she has any acting ability or whatever. So that was probably like her, like initial outing as an actress, and she was able to.
She's been in a couple,
Yeah.
dancing movies, like
She can
Step
dance her
Up
ass
to
off,
like
yeah.
those type of movies.
She kind of acts like the way Beyonce acts to me. She's got some work. She's got some work to do to me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, who y'all think?
I thought I don't know his name, but the guy that played the son.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He played his part.
Yeah. It could have been better. I guess it could have been better, and it did feel like a Tyler Perry kind of movie a little bit.
So that was my thing. It just felt like it was like a Wayne's
You're
Brothers,
right.
like a parody.
It did have like
you
a
know.
Tyler. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
And
I feel like.
Unfortunately, I think that's where I feel like a lot of our black movies are kind of like headed, and I like that.
I'll say this: when we watched Coming to America, my girl was very much focused on the main character, and she liked him, so she felt like whoever this guy is, like I partially liked the movie because of him. She liked his personality. She just liked the vibe that he brought to the movie or whatever.
Yeah.
So I didn't necessarily care one way or another. He just was like another dude to me. But I have all this like. I'm a fucking comedy fan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for her, this was just like, oh, this is a continuation from a movie that I probably saw a long time ago and I thought was straight or whatever, because she's a little weird about American entertainment.
All right, guys, we're gonna get into this main sip. So I wanted to have a positive talk about marriage. So sippers, that's why I invited Greg and Marlon on, because they're both living the married life, and you have one guy and myself that wants to be married and okay with being married, and we have another guy, Remy, who ideally wants to be married, but he has his concerns about marriage. Is that correct to state?
That's the simple way to say it, I guess. Concerns. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So again, thank y'all for joining. So my question first is to Greg and Marlon. How long have you been married, and did you always know that you wanted to get married? I don't care who goes first.
For me, I've been married 24 years.
Damn.
Wow.
And I've always known I wanted to get married. My grandparents were together for a long time. My parents have been together a long time. They just celebrated their 49th year of marriage. So just growing up around that longevity of marriage, I always knew that I would get married.
So you got married in the 90s.
Got married in the 90s.
I feel like that'd be a great time to get married. The 90s.
I probably would cheated my ass off.
Well, yeah, I mean, whatever. But the music, dog, the music from the 90s to get married during that time period.
I'm sure it was amazing. 24 years.
Like that, like you playing like
That's
the
dope.
you playing the new Prince at your wedding. You know what I'm saying? Like the new Prince is at your wedding.
What about you, Greg?
We've been married now 4 years. December 11, 2016. We met August 17, 2006 in law school.
Okay.
On her birthday, and our first date was October 20th.
Oh, this man got all the dates. He came correct. He know Regina gonna be listening.
So how long you been married?
4 years now.
4 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But we took it was very unorthodox, like because we were together, for so long. We bought our first home before we got married, and but I don't know if I always knew I wanted to be married, but it's something that after a while just I wanted.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I.
Did you know that before you met Regina?
I was gonna say.
Or did you meet Regina and you was like, damn.
It's like, yo, I could do this.
Yeah. Shout
No,
out to Regina,
I would
by
say
the way.
probably like in undergrad. It was just, it's one of those things sometimes when you look at, okay, where you want to be in life, where you want to go, it's like eventually, I remember when I was in undergrad, I was like, I want 4 kids, but at
Halfway
the time,
there.
No, man, I'm good, man. See, but at the time, it's like one of those things you kind of wanted, but you don't know all the ramifications of it. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure.
But once you're kind of growing and learning and understanding, all these different roles you have to play, all these different things. It was like, I don't know if I want any kids, but I still want to be married. I like that stability, that ability to build together, travel together, because I love to travel.
Yeah.
That's, one of the things that I love, and it was just like having someone to share all of that with.
Yeah. So you said your parents were married, Marlon? So that kind of inspired you. Your parents married?
Yes, they were married, but my mom passed away when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
So it was like, most of my, that age where you're learning so much, I was raised by my father.
And so Remy, tell the sippers kind of
My background?
not really your background. You can tell your concerns around marriage. And
my
whatnot.
concerns, man, that's a dissertation.
Short version.
So I'm a young man who is very relationship prone. I don't really do single life like that very well. So I've always been in relationships. So all of my experience is in being in relationships and dealing with relationships. And my longest relationship was 8 years.
Damn.
With a young lady. My longest relationship with a woman. My longest relationship in my life was 11 years with my car. My first new car, 11 years, baby.
8 years, though.
8 years was the longest relationship. It was mostly long distance, which is why I think it went so long anyway. But that was probably the one at the time. And then eventually I got engaged again in another situation, which was about 4 years. And that one was complex.
So you do a lot of long relationships. So,
I mean, I guess you could say I've had 4 relationships. I'm in the 4th now.
were your parents married?
My father took a long time to get married.
All right.
And
So,
he was married for about a year.
okay. Like for me, my parents got divorced early. I was like 10 years old when they got divorced. So the only people that I saw married really were my grandparents, and they died in the early 90s when I was like a teenager. And then my uncle, he was married for a very long time. And so he's really the only positive light I have had on the marriage life. With that said, I've never had a negative perception of marriage. I think this maybe in me being a hopeful romantic is like, I want to be married.
Well, have you ever seen the hardships of marriage or marriage?
I mean, I felt the hardships. I've seen what divorce causes and how it hurts, how it divides families. And I've seen way more divorces than I have seen marriages in my lifetime experience.
Your parents still get along?
Now, but that took a lot of healing.
Of course.
That took a lot of time. My dad's been remarried twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, but for some reason, society has this thing that men don't get a benefit from being married. What's the benefit from men to be married in this day and age? You hear it all around.
I know what it is.
So, from your perspective, what's the benefit of being married from the two married guys in the room?
I will say this. I think a lot of times society have this. There's this out there like for men, there's no benefit, but I would disagree. You know, I think the first thing is, especially if you want to have kids, you know, that's something most people don't want, which is understandable. You know, but I think if you want to have kids, it's beneficial to have someone that you see eye to eye with who can help you raise the kids, because that's just a whole lot of work. I think just the stability that it provides,
Facts.
having someone that's basically your best friend that's there, someone you can count on, someone you can rely on, you know, having that different perspective. You know, I think one thing about my wife is I trust her completely with any decision. So we have different backgrounds, but even if she says something or she decides on something that I don't agree with, I trust that she made that decision because she believed it would be best for the union, for us. I believe she had my interests at heart over her interests, truthfully. So even if she, you know, we're going down the road and she say, take this path, and I'm like, okay, I see a hole in here, we're gonna fall. I still trust her because I know she made that decision because she wholeheartedly believes it's the best decision for us.
Gotcha.
So that's why, you know, under any circumstances, you know, certain decision, I may not agree with it, but I will go with it because it comes from a good place. I do think being married, it allows you an opportunity to grow that you wouldn't have if you were single, or if you didn't have that comfort with someone. You know, it's like there's so many intangibles, and I think financially it definitely helps a whole lot.
100%.
You know, it's a good way. It does help build wealth. I mean, there's so many positives. And I always equate it with kind of like having kids. I remember there was a point I didn't want any kids. Like when we got married, I didn't want kids anymore. You know, I was like, man, all this, all that, I don't want kids. And I would always, every time she's telling me, you know, about, you know, how great having kids would be, I'm like, man, every time I ask somebody who have kids about having kids, it's like they warn me more than encourage me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like
it's a lot.
It's a lot. Like I went to college and I had a great time. Anytime someone's like, hey, should I go to college? I'm like, oh, heck yeah, man, go to college, man. It's the freaking best time of your life. I'm never apprehensive.
Hey, do everything that you ain't gonna be able to do when you have kids.
You know, but whenever you ask someone with kids, like, man, I'm thinking about having kids, man. What you think?
Don't do
Man, bro, you sure you want to go down that route?
They come up
So I'm like, you know,
don't do it.
But
Please don't do it.
they could never explain the benefit in a way. You know, it's one of those things that like, man, you just have to experience it.
I mean, you don't really know the benefit until like 20, 30 years later,
Not,
really.
no, but not even that. Like there's like when I pick up my daughter, like I'll literally walk in because I pick her up from daycare every time, and it's like every time I see her, it's a victory lap. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because it's like literally just by showing up. And you can't really explain that to someone
who doesn't have it.
It's one of those things where, you know, I never got it when people would tell me that until I experienced it. And it's like the greatest thing.
Yeah.
Greg hit on a lot of key points. I would say just society has changed so much. So the outlook on marriage and a man's role. I'm more old school. And just growing up, looking at my grandparents, great-grandparents, for the short time that I got to see them and my parents, you know, the benefits was you were building something and living life with somebody that you wanted to share everything with. So when you say benefits are, that's what I want to use. Benefits can be pretty much anything because you can build more with somebody who's there as a helpmate than trying to do everything by yourself.
100%.
And to where we are today, more people are accustomed to or used to doing for and by themselves that the relationship ain't working, on to next. I got me. And I think more people have become selfish when it comes to relationships that I can do for myself rather than struggling with somebody.
Yeah. Great. You got some thoughts? Benefits.
About what?
Benefits. Or anything that Greg
what
Martin
a man
said.
gets out of marriage.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 words. You ready?
All right.
All right. Pussy farm.
Pussy farm?
Pussy farm.
In-house pussy, are you saying?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying as hunters, as men, our job is to go out and try to hunt and, try to find.
Are you just trying to be funny?
That we're looking for. And then, we go through all of the motions to try to get it or whatever. But the smarter one among us is going to be the one that farms that shit. That's all I'm saying.
I don't get it.
I'm just saying.
I don't get it.
Somebody out there understands what I'm saying.
I mean, there's always going to be a benefit
Pussy
of
farm.
having in-house versus going out there and have to hunt for it.
Yeah.
But there's way more benefits to marriage than just that.
I mean, you're probably right. I'm a young man still figuring it out. We'll find out.
One thing I like what you said, both of you said, is like the stability of it. I think we forget in this culture that you can absolutely do better in the right marriage.
Oh yeah,
right. It's easier to have 2 incomes versus just 1 income.
Right.
It's easier to, like you said, build wealth. To have someone that you can trust completely, someone who has your back. And I don't know why our culture has gotten to this thing of I'm just gonna do it by myself. Like,
because we tired of each other. We've been fucking each other over for a long time, like as genders, like men and women. We've been in a Cold War.
We have been getting. It seems like we've been getting further and further away,
and it's just
from being able to build intimacy.
Yeah.
Intimacy.
I don't think much has changed when it comes to that. If you think about, I think technology has taken away from that, because a lot of the things that were done way back then still done now. It's just technology, social media, and all these other things that amplifies in the pudding. Because when Mr. Willie was going around the corner and doing his stuff, only person knew was the neighbor. So unless the neighbor was talking, nobody else knew what Mr. Willie was doing. Nowadays, I mean, you got cell phones, video cameras. I mean, everything to kind of put that business out there.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, we see it more. It's in our face more. It's not hitting as much as it was hitting back in the day, which that has separated relationships and how people build on their relationships. Women are fed up with men, period. Men are fed up with attitudes of women, period. But a lot of that men caused.
I agree with that.
And women have evolved to where they don't need men as much. They want a man, but
they sick of our
need
shit.
for a man. So that's changed the aspects of relationships to where
That's true, man.
a woman gonna say, I can do bad by myself and be okay with that.
Damn, Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry fucking up all of us.
Oh man.
I mean, but it's the truth. Even married couples, I mean, you get to a point to where if there's no growth left in the marriage, I mean, it becomes a struggle.
Oh,
Like,
man.
what are you in the marriage for at that point?
Yeah.
I think there has to be growth in everything, because once something stops growing, it starts dying. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like I was talking about this the other day. I don't know when I would actually want to retire, or if I do retire, what am I going to pick up after that? Because once you get to a certain age, you're going to feel like you're going to start dying. And if that's what you're focused on, then that's what that's where you're headed, period.
Yeah.
You're focused on dying. And I talked to my 75-year-old aunt the other day, and she's making plans. She got travel plans. She's got plans to live to this place and go visit that person. I'm like, all right, well, hey, I see you when I see you. Let's get out here and do this. And she's got all the hurdles in the world, you know what I'm saying? But she's still living her life. So I appreciate that. I feel like you got to do the same thing when it comes to marriage. You got to still be willing to live for whatever it's supposed to be.
But yeah, I'm a back Remy on something real quick. I performed at a wedding last night, and the grandparents were still alive and at the wedding of this couple. And they were celebrating their 59th year of marriage. It's the grandparents.
Wow.
That's my life twice.
And so they asked, what was the secret to the longevity of the marriage?
What did he say?
Grandpa said a bunch of great, amazing sex.
Absolutely.
That is hilarious.
So, back and read me up a little bit of.
Oh, I don't deny that. I don't deny that.
That is hilarious.
I think we all.
Shout out to Grandpa.
I think we all know that for the most part, men are much more simple in the things that we need for a happy marriage than what women need. For whatever reason, we ain't gotta go into details for that, but I think there's probably truth, some truth to that. So I would say we'll talk about fears, right? One of the fears that I have personally, going from dating someone to potentially marrying someone, is I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to get divorced, right? I don't want to lose all that I have. I don't want to. This is the last only pussy I'm gonna get the rest of my life. You know what I mean? These are some of the fears that I have. I'm not saying I wouldn't sacrifice it, but I think this is some of my fears. Did you guys have any fears going from dating someone to making that step to proposing?
For me,
what fears exist, I guess.
My situation into marriage kind of happened a little differently. We were expecting. And then having the parents that I had, it was, hey, you got to do the right thing. You got a baby on the way. You're already living together.
You feel like it was kind of forced on you in a way?
Force is strong, but I was not ready or prepared.
Gotcha.
I did it from the pressure of family. Because every time I was around family here, her family's here, that was the first question they asked.
When y'all get married.
You're living together, when you get married. And one day
that pressure was heavy back then.
Said, hey, plan it. And I literally got married 2 months after I said plan it. No counseling, no getting in depth in conversation about what our wants, values were. How we were going to build. What her drawbacks were of me, my drawbacks of her. We never got into any of that.
Gotcha.
And those things are very important in a relationship. So I can appreciate, you, Jay, saying that, you have some fears and things. But the one thing that I'll say on that is there's no perfect person. There's a perfect person for you, but no perfect person. So you have to get to a point to where, okay, I like this person enough that I want to build something with you.
Yeah. Flaws
and all. Let's make this work. Because if you don't get to that mindset, you're never going to be happy, because something's gonna always pop up. You say the word red flag. Is it really a red flag, or it's just you had a disagreement? So those are some things you got to think about, and I'm gonna say change your perspective, because again, there's a perfect person for you. It's just how do you move forward and grow with finding that person, or when you and that person together, how do you grow from that? Because things are going to pop up.
For sure.
Things are always going to pop up. There's going to be some disagreements. There's going to be some heated conversation. And I mean, 4 years that I've known you, you're a very vocal person.
For sure. So for sure. But I'm also a really great communicator, so I'm okay with it.
Right. So those are the things. You can't be afraid to be in a relationship, because you are a great communicator. And me knowing you from my experiences with you, you're going to want somebody who has that same communicating aspect in return. Hey, if something come up, if I'm doing something wrong, talk to me. Don't just hold it in and then you all of a sudden blow up on me because I left a sock on the floor. I mean, those are things you deal with marriage. Leaving something out of place. Like, why you keep leaving these damn socks on the floor? The basket right there. You got it on the side of the basket.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure. Hold on. Hold that thought. I want Greg to answer.
Nah. Well, I just want to say, I think, the fears that you speak of, fear of getting divorced, losing everything, being, that last pussy you're always fucking, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
All those fears are reasonable. Anything positive you do in life, to grow, to get better, to be a better person, you're going to have those fears, but you can't let fears of what might go wrong control your life. You think about because at the end of the day, the most important thing is, like he said, is finding someone that you feel like, okay, we can tackle everything that comes at us together. Because everything you do, you have that fear. I remember, decided to go to college, You know, I had never been to Tallahassee. I went to Florida State. You know, my first day there for orientation was literally my first time in Tallahassee because, you know, we were poor. I wasn't able to go visit schools, do all this and all that, see the campus. Right. You know, it was like, all right, I'm going to stay in Florida for whatever's cheaper. And, you know, last minute it was like either FSU or UF. UF wanted me to come in the fall. FSU wanted me to come in the summer. And I lived in Naples. And I was like, I'm getting the hell out of Naples. So first come, first serve. All right, I'm gone. You know, now I could say, well, man, I might fail out of college. So many people fell out. You know, my parents didn't pre-save or prepaid my college. It was all student loans and be like, man, I'm going to be owing all this money. This is going to be scary. You know, like anything you're doing, trying to be positive, there's fears of failure.
True.
You know, the point is to look at, you know, the possibility of conquering that, the possibility of succeeding, you know, and it's a leap you have to make, but you have to find someone that you feel like, you know, we might not be on the same page all the time, but we'll find a way to work it out all the time. You know, so the fear will always be there, you know, and, you know, as far as, you know, hey, this is the last pussy you're getting. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you probably had enough pussy where you get to a point, you know, it's like,
exactly.
You know, after a while, you know, it's like, you know, so it's, the fear will always be there. The point is, you know, you have to believe in yourself, you know, think about everything.
And like the person you're choosing.
Yeah. You know, like you recently you moved to Tampa, got a new job, you know, I'm sure you could be like, man, this is different. I'm used to across the bridge.
Yeah,
you know, I'm all about this.
Exactly. You didn't want to come to Tampa.
You know, but eventually you had to tell yourself, you know what? This is positive.
Absolutely.
I'm going to do it. You know, it's to a smaller scale.
Absolutely.
But I think one thing in life that we've gotten used to being able to tell ourselves that, you know, I can do this. You know, if something come up wrong, I can do this. But the scary thing about marriage is knowing that your success is based on someone else's work. You know, you can say, hey, I'm going to start this podcast. I'm going to put 100% into it. But imagine there's someone else, and if they don't put anything into it, it's going to crash and burn. So you have to trust that your co-pilot
got your back,
you know, and that's the hardest part. But at the same time, you know, that your co-pilot also have to trust you, that, you know, you're going to do your part. So it's just finding that one person where, you know, it's never perfect, you know, like there's always differences. There's always things that come up, but it's just trusting that, hey, we'll figure it out together.
Yep. What were you going to say, Remy? Go ahead.
So the way my pessimistic brain views that is this person at any time has complete and utter control over my happiness today.
Well, they should never have control over your happiness, though.
Unfortunately, it's more the case than you would expect. So
I mean,
let's say,
to an extent they do.
Depending on how toxic she is,
yeah,
you can literally just be like playing PS4 and having a good day or whatever, and then she's not having a good day, so she take your PS4 and throw it out the window. Your day is different now. Your day has changed. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing you were saying, but like if you don't have that trust, then you're going to be like, this motherfucker is going to fuck my day up. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a bad marriage.
But on the flip side, you know, she got to look at you like, you know, he could my day up. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
She got to trust that, you know, you're going to protect, you know, so, and that's the approach. You know, the approach is always like, I want to make her day good because if her day is good, my day will be better. And her approach is I got to make his day good because if his day good, I know he'll make my day better. So, but it's just getting to that point. It's hard for a lot of people because, I mean, I think so much in the media and just so much that's out there is very negative. You know, it's like we highlight the negative in every situation. You know, whether we watch the news, whatever the case is, you get on Facebook, you know, if you log in, you're like, hey, I'm having a great day with my wife. Man, don't nobody care about that. You know, you might get 5 likes, you know. If you log in, you're like, this nigga cheating on me, then, you know. I mean, everybody on there.
You could almost blame like movie and TVs for that because we kind of gravitate towards
the drama, reality,
for the sake of the drama. If there's no drama, we don't like it.
Yeah, but that's, you know, part of that's human nature, you know, but the thing about it is, you know, you have to pull back from that and just have that belief, you know, and it's hard to have it, you know, but it takes a lot of communication, a lot of consistency, you know, hard work and consistency, like anything in life, you know, it's like, anything you're trying to do, work, consistency. It has to be every day. You know, if you want to lose weight, you can get up today, go to the gym and eat a salad. But can you do that 365 days?
Yeah.
You know, consistency. That's the most important thing.
So I have a 2-part question here. And obviously, Altino Che has a wide range of different demographics, white listeners, Asian listeners. But this question is more geared towards specifically black men. All right. And so 2 parts. Do y'all know other black men that are married? And why do you think there's this theory that black men don't want to be married? 2-part question. Do you know other black men that are married, other than outside of this room, obviously? And why do you think the theory is that black men don't want to be married? Anybody?
Oh, I don't know any married black men. I don't know. I guess I don't live in Tampa where I know I'm close to any married black men. I know like some black men in Detroit that are married, and I got cousins who recently got married. So I talk to them about that stuff sometimes or whatever, but I don't know.
Okay, so your answer is pretty much no. So why do you think people believe that black men don't want to get married? You see it all over social media. You see it everywhere. Black men don't want to get married. Black men aren't in the household. Black men are all in jail, et cetera, et cetera.
I'll say this, and this is just something I learned recently about black men as a commodity, like in the dating world or whatever. There's a lot more eligible black women than there are to eligible black men. So then black men are given so much choice, and with too many options, it's kind of hard to make a decision at all. So when you have like the pick of the litter, it's gonna be difficult for you to pick somebody that I guess probably could be good for you, because you'll probably always be seeing that there's something that seems like it's better over there. Oh, she got a fatter ass. Oh, she cooks for her man, or she does this. So when you got all that surrounding you, it's gonna be hard to pick the one that probably has most of what you're looking for. It's just she's missing something that you can't even see because you're too busy looking at somebody's fat ass. So that's my take on that.
Okay, ain't nothing wrong with that.
And that was based on a conversation I had about just I mean,
I agree.
Black men,
agree.
Black men, single black men, as you know, Jay, are winning right now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are winning. I think y'all are having a good time in these COVID streets.
I have had a good time. I'm not going to lie as a single man, but
I think my take on it is a little bit different. I do have line brothers who are married. A lot of fraternity brothers are married. A lot of friends I went to undergrad with are married.
Fraternity?
Iota Phi Theta. A lot of friends I went to undergrad with are married. I've probably been a groomsman and, handful of weddings. A lot of my friends from law school are married. But I will say that I think there are a lot more of that demographics when I look at like my white friends and my black friends, a lot more of my black friends who are not married than my white friends. And I think some of that is just due to in our community, I think, and I don't want to be too controversial, but sometimes I think a lot of things that are looked at as positive, we as black people find a way to devalue it.
I agree.
And that kind of hold us back a lot. I do think that. I think getting married is a positive thing, but I think in our community, there isn't like it's not value, it's not like something where you're aspired to be married.
Yeah.
And I think in different cultures, it tends to be a little bit different. I think another thing about black men, and in particular, we feel like we have to reach this certain point to get married. It's like, whereas I think white people, I look back like my undergrad years, things of that nature, it's like they build together. It's like you see two people who you just got out of college or just met.
Generational past that.
Exactly. And they'll get married and it's like, but whereas with us, it's like, okay, I need to get to this point in my career. I need to buy a house. I need to do this. I need to do that. And it's like, whereas white people, they'll be in the apartment together. They'll do this. They'll do that. They'll buy the home, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I think, we lack that in our culture,
Yeah, I got something about black marriage and numbers. I'm going to come back to that, though. But you make some amazing points for sure.
So let's see what.
I agree with you and Remy. I do know a lot of black men that are married. But going back to what you were just talking about, the difference in culture to where in the black community, marriage isn't glorified. It's just not glorified. We have such a larger hill to climb when it comes to building and getting with the right person, and that it's always a struggle. Even when you find a good person to build with, it's always a struggle to get to the point to where you're content and satisfied and happy with, where you are.
Exactly.
To where if you look at other cultures, I perform at these white weddings, and it's like it's unlimited as to what they'll put out for a wedding.
Yes.
And Jay, not too long ago, we talked about this, about the spot and how people just fork out, thousands and thousands of, tens of thousands of dollars for weddings. I mean, I've done $1 million weddings. None of them were black. Not even close to the same concept of what they would put out. But I have been to some nice black weddings, and it's just different. How we approach it, how we go about it, even it's just different.
Did you already answer, Remy?
I think I did.
So for me, one thing I want to say, I am a strong advocate for having a diversified network or diversified friends, right? A lot of times people who are single only hang around single people, so they stay in a single mindset. They don't have any friends in that network that are married. So I always try to tell people, get some friends in your life that are married so you can see how they move in marriage, hear how they talk about marriage, to give you a different outlook of just a single mindset. I think too many times we just separate ourselves. And it's the same thing with, like, they always say your network is your network, so your net worth, right? I didn't start fucking traveling until all my friends were traveling. I was like, whoa, you leaving me back here?
Same.
Like, let me get my passport. Right. All my black friends traveling. But if I had never surrounded myself with people that were traveling, I never would have had the mindset to start traveling. So I think it's the same thing with like marriage. Like, we need to surround ourselves, not just, no one wants to be a third wheel, right? Yeah. I just passed up on a vacation because everybody that was going there was couples. I was like, hell nah, I ain't gonna be the only person on this vacation where that's single. I'm not doing that. But I do think we should surround ourselves with that. I don't know that many. I know about probably 4 or 5 black men that are married, and I would like to. I don't get to hang out with them as much as I would like to, and I don't necessarily think that people who are married think about inviting their single friends around either, because again, birds of a feather flock together, and then you hang around people who are in the same space as you are. But going back to some numbers here, I looked up this morning. It says, so a piece of news coming out of the census data is that the U.S. marriage rate hit an all-time low in 2019. So for every 1,000 unmarried adults in 2019, only 33 got married. This number was 35 a decade ago in 2010 and 86 in 1970. Now, to your point about people being with graduate degrees and so college educated and economically better off Americans are more likely to marry and stay married, but working class and poor Americans face more family instability and higher levels of singleness. So is there any correlation to divorce rates and men not wanting to get married because of money? And we all know that in the black culture, we have typically less money than white people.
Yeah.
Is there any correlation to us not wanting to get married? You just said men feel like they had to have all this stuff in a row before they get married. So what's the correlation there?
So I can definitely speak to that just from one place of, like, when I first got engaged, the first thought was, can I get her a ring that I feel like she would want? You know what I'm saying? The whole thing, it became less about, as soon as you start thinking about engagement and getting married, the first thought is like, do I choose this person? And the second thought is, how much it's going to cost? You know what I'm saying? And then there's no room for anything else, at least for that period of time. And then you're married and you're like, all right, I guess we did it. Now let's see what happens. Let's see where it goes. So the wedding industry, I feel like the wedding industry definitely fucks with marriage, or fucks with the possibility of, like, just having a marriage with somebody that, where you feel like you're valuing the person that you're with. Like me, having felt the way I felt about that person, I wanted to give her everything for the sake, you know what I mean? Like for me, it was like, this is how I can serve her, to let her know that I'm serious about this. I want to do everything, but then you can't do everything. So that automatically puts a block in front of us possibly being married. You know what I'm saying?
I think for yourself, you put some fears in your head. Because if you felt to the point that you would do anything for that person, regardless of the size of ring, regardless of the size of wedding, you shouldn't have let that hold you back. Right. And when you find the right person and you can feel that way about a person, what you can have is up to the two of you, not just you. As men, yeah, we're supposed to be providers and provide everything. And I'm definitely that way. I want to provide everything that I possibly can for the person that I love. And I'm going to do everything that I can to make that happen. I haven't always passed on that. I've come up short with trying to provide. But being married, having 3 daughters, my outlook and perception, completely changed to where I wake up every morning knowing that I got to go out and provide. My day start at 6 a.m., sometimes don't end till 10, 12 o'clock at night. Full-time job, full-time musician, because I'm providing for my family. And even though my daughters are grown, I'm still providing. None of them are married yet. I have a grandson. My oldest daughter and my grandson, they're at home. So I'm still in a provider's role of making sure that she's okay, he's okay. He sees a positive male influence because his dad is not in his life. And, still being there talking to my daughters every day about, relationships, or at least the stuff that they see on TV and how the stereotypes are relationships, and, they follow all these celebrities and think that that's the way that relationships are supposed to be. And it's not. If you find yourself in a situation, how do you handle yourself? Because at the end of the day, words are just words. If a person can't back their words up with actions, question it. And sometimes men fall short on that because we know that we can tell a woman exactly what she wants to hear. Now she's all googly-eyed and smiling like, yeah, gotcha. But if you can't back those words up with some actions and some stability to make her feel comfortable enough to trust you, yeah, you're going to have a bad relationship.
Yeah. I mean, I think, again, money is definitely a factor, I think, especially in divorce rates. I mean, I think they say, last time I checked, money, number one cause for divorce is financial issues, right? But before I get into that, like, do you think there's any correlation with, like, black men specifically not wanting to be married because of finances?
Yeah, I definitely think a lot of that finances plays a huge role, whether we feel like we're worthy or whether, I think it burns on both ends. On the low end, we might feel like, okay, I'm not worthy yet. I'm not where I need to be. So I need to wait till I get there before I can get married. And on the high end, it's like, okay, now I got it. Now, do I want to bring someone in that's going to mess it up? You know what I'm saying? So I think, finances it stops us from getting married when we're not where we need to be financially. And it stops us from getting married when we are where we need to be financially. Because then it's like, okay, I got all this to lose. Do I want to bring someone in that might potentially mess it up, take half, so on and so forth. But, I always tell people, just because you see something on TV, just because you see how something plays out when you sit down and you watching whether it's Tyler Perry movies, whatever the case is, that doesn't mean it's true, because we all can say, okay, what's the image of black males on TV, and we all can think of, 20,000 negative things, but it's like, damn, we're all black. We're around other black men. We know that's not true, but sometimes when we see the negative stuff about marriage and other things, we absorb it. It's like, well, if they can lie to us about this, maybe they're lying to us about that. And I always say sometimes when you want to be when you know where you're trying to be, you can look at other people that's there, and see, what have they done, unless you're trying to live in the sun, where no one that I know has done that before. Anything else you want to do, someone else has done it successfully. So there's a blueprint out there to be successful at anything. The thing is, do you want to look it up, and do you want to not necessarily follow what someone else did, but try to apply that with you? Because everyone is different. But what is it that other successful people, whether it's successful at marriage, whatever the case is, what have they done? What can you learn from it and apply to yourself? And it's something you got to be real with yourself.
Here's something I just thought about. A question I want to. Do y'all think culture plays a part? Right, you're Haitian.
Yes.
We're all American culture for the most part. Your girl, she's Caribbean.
She's Caribbean.
Where is she from?
Grenada.
Is she marriage oriented mindset?
She didn't think she was until she met me.
Okay.
And then she was like, all right.
So it goes to the fact, once you meet somebody, your mind can change about it.
She could see a future with me. She couldn't.
Do we think culture plays a part in how we view marriage? Is Haitian culture, do they push marriage in Haitian culture?
I will say yes, they do. It's very conservative. Now, it's funny you say that, because I remember my wife, she told me the first day she met me at orientation, and she told her mom she met her husband. And because I'm Haitian, and it might be somewhat true, I don't know, because but there's this I would say stereotype out there that Haitian men have a lot of wives, and her mom was like, "Oh, you're gonna be like the second or third or fourth wife." Like, Greg ain't got no wife. So we always joke about that, I always tell her, like, "Look, man, I'm gonna go find wife number 2.
Wife number 2 to bring it to the fold."
Play too much. I'm going to hit up wife number.
I actually know two Haitian guys. You and JQ. I don't know if you know JQ. JQ's Haitian, and he's married as well. He recently got married. So I don't know. I just thought, I don't know if American culture.
But I would say her, she's from Mississippi. She's Southern, and her mom's married, her aunties are married, her brothers and sisters are married. Actually, her younger brother got married before her, so she was giving me the eyes, because we were together like 10 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we met 2006, and we didn't get married till 2016.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And it's crazy.
And there are a lot of people that would shit on that.
Yeah.
Right? They would shit on that. Why are you keeping that girl, that one waiting that long?
That's my problem. If I get to 10 years, then I can get married. Right?
But this is the crazy thing, man. Like, I remember when I decided to propose, I went ahead, I bought the ring, and I hollered, like, my friends from, my best friends, because we normally always do a couple trip, like a skiing trip, something like that. So we planned the trip, and we planned the proposal and everything, but only the guys knew. The girls didn't know. So it's like, I'm going through the airport. I got like the wedding ring and a sock, and trying to hide everything. So the night before, she tripping on me about,
she didn't even know.
Wow.
She didn't know you were about to do it.
And I had to plan, like, we went snowmobile. We got top of the mountain and everything.
Oh, nice.
And everything being recorded, and she didn't know anything. She was tripping on me.
That's what's up, man. We got any final thoughts on?
How long did you court your wife before y'all got married?
Well, he said his was a little bit different, because he felt like he kind of.
Well, we courted.
You said it was.
Yeah, we courted.
You said it was 2 months. Was it 2 months? Did you say 2 months?
No, we had been together longer.
Okay. Like, I made a 24-year marriage work with a 2 month.
Hey, it's happened before. It happened.
2 month courtship.
We had been together 3 or 4 years prior to that.
Okay.
So we met in college.
Yeah.
And dated, and again, I had my oldest daughter, and I had moved here, and it started pushing it to that point. But back to that, like, you don't get black men that sit around and talk like this about marriage, pros and cons. And I think we need to do more of that.
For sure. Sure.
Good or bad, just so that, even though you're single, your mindset and perspective on how you see and value things could help someone else out.
Yeah.
Whether they've been married for 24 years like me or not. Because sometimes we get, again, selfish and stuck in our own ways, that we're in our way.
Yeah.
And can't progress or view things differently. And women talk like this all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why there's such a gap on their perspectives and building relationships. And the brothers, we just go by, well, I'm just going to get the next piece of ass out. Screw that.
I don't think we give each other a lot of positive affirmation. You know, it's like,
I agree.
You know, we constantly on the negative. You know, like, man, she gonna take half, bro. Man, she gonna do this. Man, she gonna do that. Whereas, you know, it's like
that's why you don't listen to your single friends.
You know, if you tell me, you know, if you tell me, hey, I'm gonna start a business, I'm gonna say, man, 95% fail, bro. Don't do it. You know, I'm gonna support you.
Yeah.
But you know, you say, hey, I'm thinking of getting married. Man, you sure about that, bro?
Right.
So, you know, I think a lot of it is just outlook. You know, our community, we don't put that value on it. We don't, you know, support each other in that venue.
I agree.
Go
ahead.
And I say that's because we don't have all the information. Like we're having trouble figuring out what the benefit is, and I can see it definitely being beneficial if you got kids, because you kind of want that safe, strong space to raise, you know, your seeds or whatever. But marriage just doesn't have the power that it used to have, especially like in America. Because if you think about what marriage was, or what it was, you know, before, it was uniting kingdoms. You know what I'm saying? Like what Coming to America is even about, uniting kingdoms so that we can both be the strongest kingdom now, because we're together and nobody else is going to be able to stand against us. So now we're not uniting kingdoms with marriages. We're simply having two individuals decide that we will function better as a unit than by ourselves, especially for the sake of children or whatever that be. And it helps you better in society. It helps you to get more of what you feel like you might want in society.
Marriage has always been about bringing two sides together to better whatever cause.
Right.
Same thing.
But it doesn't have the same. It's not on the same level anymore, is what I mean.
It's not on the same level for sure, but I think you definitely got to look at it. This is my kingdom. This is her kingdom.
You're a mini kingdom, man.
Yeah,
the mulatto kingdom.
The mulatto kingdom. So look, before we end this on this or this topic, so my homie Remy has this theory that he had on the mulatto perspective about renewing your marriage every 3 years or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So. What are your thoughts on this? Tell them your theory real quick. But short version though.
Okay,
short
so
version.
My whole thing was, I feel like marriage it's not, because it's not what it used to be. It doesn't carry the same weight. So I feel like it needs to be reformed in a way. And to me, the easiest way or the most simple way for that to work is the same way we do with like businesses and things like that. There's a contract for a certain amount of time, and then we re-up after that period of time. So to me, the way everybody is now, I feel like marriage would maybe not necessarily last per se, but it will work more efficiently, because we know, okay, we're coming up on our fucking end of the contract or whatever. Do we want to renew this? Let's talk about it now, because it's coming up and we're gonna have to pay taxes or whatever the fuck happens when the contract ends. We're gonna have to deal with this. So you start talking about, is this gonna continue or is this not gonna continue? And then you can be adults about it. At least you can maybe work out the kinks, and if you decide to re-up, then all right, let's do another 8 years. You know what I'm saying? And that way it takes divorce out of the equation. Divorce isn't a thing anymore, because we already have a pre-plan for how we're gonna end this if we don't renew, period.
Thoughts on that? I don't agree. I personally, I don't agree. But hey,
it's a pessimistic view. But divorce is, you know what I mean? Like, I think everybody should go into a marriage with the idea that we could get divorced. If you throw that out the window, when you roll up on divorce, it's gonna surprise you.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I see your perspective.
The mulatto perspective.
I understand your perspective. To me, hearing it first without really putting a whole lot of thought into it, all you've done is just made an arrangement agreement. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's live together for 3 years. At the end of 3 years, we're going to see if we're going to renew.
Yeah.
Are you doing that out of love? Or are you doing that for the gist of, I'm going to build a future with this person?
Yeah.
Because it seems that your perspective is basing everything short term. Mm-hmm. And with marriage should be long term. Again,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Again, there are fears there. There are going to be things that pop up. Are you man and woman enough to sit down at the table, same way you would do with disagreement, and deal with those issues at the table?
Yeah.
And say, hey, we can get through this, or hey, this isn't working for us. Let's just cut it out.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what where you're going with it, and I'm gonna just put my lawyer hat on for 1 second. All right. And it's not a bad idea, but I think it's basically what it should already be. You know, instead of, you know, an every 3-year thing, it's more like every time something comes up. Instead of looking at it like, all right, do we continue or do we stop with marriage? It's more like, how do we continue? You know, because you're gonna face a lot of real life issues. You know, like you know, we've had miscarriages, just things like that you will face. So it's not more like you come to the table and like, all right, do we end this or do we continue? It's more like, all right, this is what's going on. How do we fix it?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I think it's more about perspective. You know, you might come to the table with ending it is a possibility, but the perspective is different if you come to the table with how do we fix it? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, instead of every 3 years, it's every time there's an issue. You know, you might go 3 good years, nothing come up, and there's no reason to sit down and reconsider. You know, hopefully you don't have to reconsider all the time. But, you know, whenever something come up, it's like, all right, this is an issue. This is what I'm having. She might come to you, you might come to her, whatever the case is. Then it's like, you know, how can we proceed? What can I do to make it better? Right. You know, what can you do to make it better? So I think, you know, ideally that is what marriage is, you know, but you come to the table with a different mindset. It's not like we continue or we stop. It's more like, you know, how do we proceed collectively?
Go ahead, follow up, and then we'll move on.
I lost my.
You good?
But so, what you think of that? Just that approach instead of,
okay,
you know,
so, well,
imagine
okay.
every 3 years we come together. It's like, all right.
Here's one thought, and this is because I'm a pessimist. So I automatically view marriage as like walking into a room that you can't walk out of unless you break the door down, right? Because divorce is essentially breaking out of your marriage. It's saying, yo, this marriage isn't working out and I have to break out of here. Even though we've put all these locks on the door. We bought a house. We had kids. There's mad locks on the door saying, yo, there's 1,000 reasons for you to stay in this room.
Let me ask you a question. Hold up. Do you follow sports?
No. Like not closely.
Not closely,
yeah,
but like you watch a little NBA or, you know, NFL, whatever the case is, you know.
I mean, I'm a Bucks fan.
All right. Okay, perfect. You know, so
new Bucks fan.
It's like, you know, it's like if you're married, you know, it's more like, you know, you're the team owner, whatever the case is. And when Brady's contract is up, instead of coming to the table like, man, it ain't the same, you're getting older, you know.
Brady for life.
You know, it's more like you come to the table and, you know, Brady like, you know what, I'd like to continue, keep this going, man. This is what I would like, you know. And you might be like, you know what, for that kind of money, we can't give you all these receivers, but we're going to work it out. We're going to get a rookie in here. You know what I'm saying? You good enough. You know, it's more like you come to the table because divorce is always there. People have, and I guess it's because I'm an attorney and I do divorces all the time. You know, people have this perception like, it's some paperwork you file with the court and you guys decide it. And if you can't decide it, you let a stranger, the judge, decide, you know, how you're going to separate things. Right. You know, it's like everything in life. It's how big you want to make it. You know, I've had divorces we completed in 1 year. I've had divorces takes 5 years. You know, it all depends on you. You know, are you guys going to come together like this ain't working? This is what I want. This is what we want. Or you're going to fight about everything. Then you're going to let a third party look at all the paperwork and make the decision for you. Yeah. You know, it's like everything in life. It's how big you make it or how easy you make it.
So my counterpoint to that is you're only one half of that equation. So there's only so much you can do if that person decides that they want to make things interesting.
Exactly.
So then you're asking yourself, do I want to deal with a person who is going to make this interesting? Or do I want to just claw my way out of this room so that I don't have to deal with this again?
That's true. That is true.
And so the idea of divorce for me, and I think for Jay as well, the reason that we haven't gotten married at this point because we don't want to get divorced. Like I've seen divorce and I'm like, if I do that, I only want to do it once. So if I get married and I get divorced, that's just me. That's my marriage. That's the only marriage I've had. I feel like a lot of people our age look at it like that. I mean, I think most people look at it like that until you get to a point where it's like, all right, well, I'm on marriage number 5 now. I guess we just go roll the dice again. But go ahead, Jay.
So I just want to say, I think to your point earlier, for whatever reason, black men, we don't sit down and have these type of discussions, these kind of conversations. And I think, or I at least feel like these kind of conversations are beneficial. And I think that it will help move the needle in a different direction. Absolutely. If we can just have these conversations and these real talks, not the surface level talks, like the real issues, and talk about it. And again, surround yourself with dope people. Listen to men.
Communication and conflict in marriage. Can we talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, really quickly, because we're at hour 22. I got another episode.
So as far as like conflict in your marriage, so 4 years in, 24 years in, like how do you handle that now in a way that doesn't poison the scenario? I think that's one of Jay's big things.
That's a good question.
Communicating in a relationship. How do we force this to or make this move forward? Like what strategies do you guys employ, or what have you seen be successful in order to make sure that this thing continues forward? Because I've seen the marriage burns down in a conflict. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't figure out how to put out those little fires, you're gonna create a wildfire.
Yes.
Like Greg stated earlier, you put trust in a person, and there are going to be times that you have disagreements. But with that disagreement, understanding that you trust that person enough, if they made a decision, sometimes you just got to support that decision.
Just
good or bad,
right?
And be there to pick up the pieces if that decision doesn't work out.
Rather than being like, I told you not to do that.
That part of it is teamwork.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
And it's growth, communication. You can never have enough communication. And when I say communication, I'm talking about effective communication. Like sitting down and really like talking shit out and trying to figure out where are you going, what are you doing? Because otherwise you end up, it'd be two people working on two different paths.
I would say communication is important, but it's knowing when and where and how to effectively communicate. Like me, I'm quiet, but I'm a hothead. Like once I'm hot, like doesn't matter what she say, I ain't trying to hear it.
Same.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like you have to know yourself.
Like, no, you asked for this.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like you have to know yourself to be like, all right, I'm being a tad bit too toxic. Let me tone it down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let me go sit down. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, like you argue about something and then the next day you be like, damn, I was tripping.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like it wasn't even that big of a deal. But after that's happened so many times, it's like you learn, you know yourself, you know the person.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes you can tell like, oh man, she tripping on this.
Yeah.
So you see it coming, so you're like, I'm gonna fall back. Even though I think I'm right, I'm just gonna fall back. Cause sometimes tomorrow she'll be like, damn, babe, I was tripping yesterday. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? And I could have fought to get that, but I just fell back and just let her have it. You know, but that's something you have to know.
Ain't that the tortoise in the hair right
there? Man,
one
of my things my ex used to hate that I used to always do is like, I always say, look, I got to pick and choose which battles I want to have.
Exactly.
Some of them ain't worth
sometimes when you want to have that battle, because sometimes in the heat of the moment,
she's like,
you can't effectively communicate when she's hot, and you can't communicate when you're hot, because sometimes at that point you're just trying to hurt her.
Yeah,
we all do
it's
that.
Just beef.
You know what I'm saying?
Mike Tyson now.
You're just trying to throw out a hand grenade that you can't take back.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to know that, you know, and you know people say communicate, but it's when, where, how. Because sometimes, I'll just walk away and be like, yeah, you know what, babe, you're right. You know, even though if like I want to fight and be like, I know I'm right, be right. Yeah. And it's hard, you know, but and vice versa, because she also knows me, you know, and even sometimes she's like, damn, cut tripping. I'm gonna just let this go.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, then tomorrow when I'm calm, oh yeah, we're gonna pick back up.
If you're mature enough and you have invested in the right person who's also mature enough, the next day they should be like, damn, I was tripping, baby, I apologize. Because that's a form of communication, right? And so you definitely need to know how to communicate. Communicate starts with dating. You have to learn how to effectively communicate with the person that you're courting or dating or whatnot. And so many people in today's culture do not know how to communicate. But that's a whole nother episode, whole nother topic.
Like my wife and I, man, like we are night and day. Like we are completely different, you know. And a lot of that is cultural. You know, there are things the way she approaches it, I don't agree with. You know, especially like now we have kids and it's like, okay, you have to rear the kids. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I got whoopings growing up, you know, so I'm like, look, when my son act out, I'm going to check him. She's like, oh, no, you're not going to check him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like those we kind of have to, just
middle ground.
different things. Exactly.
That's gonna change.
But overall, it's like, but so far, we've been doing well, especially with my daughter. I always say sometimes, we spend so much time trying to be or do things that we know how to do it, that we don't give ourselves time to grow, to learn something different.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's like, it's never too late to learn.
Never too late.
I've always
Never
tried to say, okay, you know what, I don't agree with this, but let me try it out.
Help me understand.
You know what I'm saying? I'm always willing to learn. I'm always willing to try. And I think that's where that trust factor comes in. I might not agree with it, but if she says it, I'm like, all right, I trust that you want what's best for us. So even though I don't agree with this, but you're doing it for a reason.
100%. So salute to love, to marriage. Salute to Black love, Black marriage especially. I hope we got a lot more segments to do, but I hope that this topic is a topic that people truly listen to, especially Black men out there, and just listen. And you know what? Marriage is not for everyone. Right? I mean, let's be true. Let's be honest about that. But you have to know yourself and know what is for you and what is not for you. Don't force yourself into something that is not for you just because society says that's what it is. Marriage is not for everyone, but if it is for you, don't allow your fears to keep you from getting the dream or the goals you have for your life.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right.
So we're gonna move on to the next segment. That was the great main sip. So the next segment is called advice. We give advice, unsolicited advice. It's called unsolicited advice. Typically, Elle and I would choose like random social media posts of someone asking for advice. So we give our thoughts on the situation. So we are not doctors. We are not mental therapists.
I'm a doctor.
But we have opinions, and we're going to talk about this really quickly. So what I found on Reddit, because Reddit has all the best topics ever, is I'm going to read it to y'all, then we can get some advice about it. It says, my fiance told me that my parents are saying incredibly racist things to her when I'm not around because they don't want Black grandchildren. Hello, everyone. I'm writing this to figure out what to do or who to believe in this situation. Let me start out by saying that I am white and my lovely fiance is a Black woman. We have an amazing relationship and I don't want any other woman in my life. She is also the only Black woman I have ever dated. My parents have always been supportive of me, and I have incredibly strong family relationships with them and my siblings, or at least I thought. When I was growing up in the Midwest, there weren't really Black people around, and the topic of racism never came up really. But I never suspected that my lovely, outgoing, and polite parents would be racist because they even donated money to an orphanage in Africa for like 20 years now through that church. My parents met my fiance a year ago, but did not take it too seriously because I had a lot of girlfriends in the past, and they probably thought that it was just another girlfriend. Well, last weekend, I announced to them that my girlfriend was now my fiance on a family Zoom meeting. My parents looked a little surprised because I did not discuss it with them before, but were ultimately congratulating me. We had dinner, etc., a few weeks later, and I had to step out to go get some things. My fiance texted me about 10 minutes in, asking me to come back right away because she needed me and my dad, and I turned around. When I got back, she was sitting in my car. I still had the key. She was sitting in my car because I was riding with my dad. She was crying, asking me to take her to our house. Of course, I drove her home, and I told my parents I was sorry, and my fiance told me what my mom had said to her. Essentially, my fiance told me that my mom said she was not supportive of us because she didn't want Black grandchildren. A number of other things that she was surprised my fiance was saying that she married up. Even though I think my fiance is better looking than me, but I am a bit more successful financially. Well, I confronted my mom and asked what she said, and my mom said she said nothing even close to that, and that the only thing she said was that she was curious what country my wife was ethnically from, and that my fiance mistook it. Well, I asked my fiance more appropriate questions, but she is adamant that my mom explicitly said these things. I have never known either of them to be liars, but the two people I trust most in the world have given me completely conflicting stories. I want to side with my wife, but what if she is having some mental episode or something, or my mom is having something?
So what is she?
What do I do?
What does she think the mom said?
So the mom basically said that she does not want black grandchildren, so she's not supportive of the relationship, and that the black woman married up. So, but the mom is denying those allegations whatsoever. So the man, the white man, doesn't know who to believe, him or his mom. Boy. What does he do?
He gonna have to Prince Harry.
I mean, step away from it, right? What are your thoughts?
If he loved that woman, he got to step away from it.
Step away from who? The mom?
The mom. I mean, he's found someone that he wants to spend his life with. Yeah. And love has no color.
I agree with that.
And if he's in a place and space that he feels that this woman is the woman that he wants to spend the rest of his life with, he has to step away from his mom. His mom isn't going to be there for the rest of his life.
And that's so hard to do when you're parents.
I guess I look at it. It's a tough one either way. I think that's a decision. You have to go with your gut feeling. Who do you believe? Because the way I look at it, somebody's lying. Now, it's easy that I can...
Somebody lying.
Now, I can see
somebody lying out here. Let's just keep it real.
You know,
I call mama a lie.
So
sometimes you got to.
But
mama
the thing
lying.
about it is, you know, at the end of the day, we don't know who's lying.
Right.
You know, now we might have an idea who we believe is lying, but just because I believe something, I believe a lot of stuff that came out to be not true. Right. So let's say, you know, let's talk it out. Let's say he believes the wife, and you know, he does what you said, and he Prince Harry the situation. Let's say down the line he find out that the mom was telling the truth. Yeah. You know, and she wanted to separate them. Yeah. It's like, damn, you ruined my relationship with moms over a lie because let's say you didn't like them and you knew something like that would split us.
Right.
You know, so it's you know,
and the reverse could happen.
Exactly.
He could believe the wife.
He could believe the wife, you know, or he could believe the mom, and you know what I'm saying, and like,
now roll with
tripping,
Shorty,
and
then find out years later, yo, you've been lying about everything.
But here's my thing: we're all black people in this room.
Yeah.
We ain't never had a reason
to
lie.
Yeah, we
a lie about someone being racist towards us.
No, you're right.
Facts. Facts. I mean, I ain't never.
Unless you think she Justice Smollett that. I mean, I don't know.
She could have. She could have.
They out here.
I would just say if it was me, and this is if I was a black man and I was marrying a white woman, and my mom essentially said these things to my white fiance, I honestly, at that point, I've already chosen that this is my woman.
Yes.
This is my partner. Yes. This is the person I want to be with. And so I have been in situations where people have allowed their families to cause such a divide in their relationship that ultimately they end up getting divorced.
Yes.
So for me, I would advise this gentleman to believe in your fiance, believe in your wife, the woman that you want to marry, and try to figure out how to make her feel better in a situation. But it doesn't mean you have to cut off your parents.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's a tough decision because once you start adding kids to the mix, then you have Thanksgiving, you have holidays. I mean, it's easy to
come around.
Yeah, it's easy to proceed. You know what I'm saying? You can have graduations and moms is there.
Oh, it's going to require work. It's going to require work.
Mom's all crazy. Like, I know what you think of, you know, Junior here. You don't like him, you know? So it's, what about when it's time the kids want to go, grandma wants to see the kids? And the wife like, oh, I know grandma don't like your, you know, the mixed kids. And so it's a lifelong situation.
Absolutely. Here's what I've learned is that a lot of times white America don't think they're racist until something hits close to home. Right?
Yes.
And so it could have been a wake-up call when she did say something and she didn't think it was racist.
Yes.
She didn't think it was racist. It's just her talking because this is what she used to.
Yes.
But it was racist, and the black woman, his fiance, took that.
Yes.
I can give an example. I used to work for this other company. There was this older white guy who always had lunch when I had lunch. And one day we just started talking, and this guy was like probably 70 years old. And you never thought we would have the conversation. But here we are, having the conversation about racism. And he was like, look, I was never raised to be a racist, blah, blah, blah. I'm not a racist. And he was like, I got 2 kids. I got 2 sons. He said, one day my son brought home a black woman. And he was like, at first, he said, I really was taken aback by it. He was like, because he wanted his son to marry a white woman. He said, but then I got to know her. And then they had kids. and now he said that's my child. His wife is that's my daughter. He said I love her, right? But he said prior to that, he just was in a different space. So I say all that to say that this guy, I would choose the wife and hope that his mom comes around.
Yes.
You know. So
I mean, yeah, it's all dope if she does come around. Let's say she's totally racist.
if she doesn't,
come around.
Hey,
Then that's a whole other situation.
But if she truly a racist, do you want you've chosen to be with a black woman?
yeah. So you already know you have to cut off the racist.
We gotta cut off the racist. You gotta cut. Mom, I'm sorry, Mom. You gotta go.
You can't walk the line at that point.
Nah, you can't.
I feel so bad for this man because to me it's like he's reached a crossroads where he has to figure out: is my girl crazy or is my mom crazy?
Or is my mom racist?
Oh, my mom racist.
So it's like, well, racist, crazy. What's the difference? So you got to walk one of those roads. You got to pick one of those roads and say, all right, I'm gonna choose her or I'm gonna choose my mom. And I mean, you can be wrong.
They both.
You can be wrong.
But even if you're right, you know, you still either way you're gonna have a battle.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
for sure.
Let's say mom, you find out mom did say it. That's still a battle.
Yo, you supposed to break it off with everybody right now. Mom, you gotta go. Girl, you gotta go. I'll see y'all later.